Hi, this is This Game For Me, and I'm Craig Foster.
I'm Avaryl Halley.
And I'm Mia Foster.
All
Sorry,
right.
I forgot my last name.
Tonight we're going to do our top 10 desert island games, and we thought we would do that by way of introducing ourselves to you, so as you watch our videos where we review individual games, you have a sense of what kind of games I like, what kind of games Mia likes, what kind of games Ave likes, so that you can kind of fit in, is her view or his view representative of my view, or what can I learn from that? So top 10 desert island games we talked about, and we all agree that they're not necessarily our 10 favorite games. They're the games that have the most replayability, that if you were stuck playing these 10 games forever, that they would last the longest possible time with the greatest possible entertainment. Yeah?
Before you lost your mind.
Before you lost your mind, died of starvation, thirst, gotten eaten by cannibals.
Started eating the games.
I have like a little
Eating
bit
the
of
games.
different, like these are games that I could play over and over and over again, but these are games that I would play with my friends, my family, and yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I tried to get a variety of, I could play it by myself, I could play it with 2 people, I could play it with a big group of people.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you never know.
You don't know who's going to be on that
In the
desert
zombie
island.
apocalypse, you don't
Exactly
know.
right. Did you pick any games you could play with a zombie?
I don't know if a zombie could play any. Maybe War. Just they could put that down.
Brains. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
All right, so my number 10 game is Star Wars Attack Wing.
Nope.
No, what?
It's Star Trek Attack.
Oh dear. Yes, I'll start again. My number 10 game is Star Trek Attack Wing.
Oh dear.
Your
Your nerd card. just
My
got
nerd, you
revoked.
know, Star Trek, Star Wars, I get confused all the time. So, Star Trek Attack Wing. Love Star Trek, so that's a huge seller for me.
Yep.
There's also a ton of ships. I think there's over 100 ships when you include the ones that WizKids put out to play and organize play. So, and every new ship comes with a new scenario, and then you don't have to play that scenario with the ships that came with it. So pretty much you could mix and match that game forever. It's not too complicated, but it gives a great feel of Star Trek. And on top of that, if you really want to lose your mind, you can start organizing the cards and putting different people and put a Klingon captain with Scotty, with whatever, and try to maximize, which is frankly the way most people play the game. You and I play it, I know it's crazy. But that's the way most people play it, is they make the most powerful combinations of ships and go to tournaments. Whereas for me, it's more about the narrative. But anyway, so that's my number 10 game. Anybody have anything about that? No?
I don't think I've played it.
Yeah, I don't think you have. You and I have played it.
We played it. I liked it more the more we played it. I don't love, what would you call this, battle games?
Yeah.
As much. That's not my favorite, but the more we played it, and particularly once you got the character cards, because the first time we played it, it was just, I'm a ship, you're a ship.
Right.
Which I was like less interested in, but once it was like, oh no, you can be Scott Bakula from Enterprise, I was like, okay, I'm on board for this. So I liked it more after that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think you would, as we played it more, there's a lot more to it.
Yeah, there's
as well.
more, you can, more to maneuver.
All right, number 10 for you.
My number 10 is Legendary Encounters, which is an alien themed game from the Alien franchise. It does a really good job of making you feel like you're trapped on a spaceship.
It does.
Even though you're playing a board game. And it really works as a co-op game. A lot of co-op games don't quite work. You're still kind of playing for yourself and an end game. This one, it's like, if you don't work together, you're definitely dead. If you do work together, you're still probably dead, but at least you stay together as a team. The artwork is particularly grotesque, and it's really fun. Yeah. And it was like, it was very tense.
And it's also, it goes surprisingly fast for a game like that. It feels like
there's a lot of stages, but you feel like there was no, oh, I gotta get up to go to the bathroom. It was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, we're gonna die. So
and it's not one of those games where you're like, when it's your turn, you're going like.
Yeah, it was because you're working together all the time. So there's no like, well, I'll sit and wait while so and so figures out what they're doing. It was like, no, okay, you give me this and I'll do this. So.
You really have to rely on each other.
Exactly. So that was my number 10.
Yeah, and it also gets more complicated too, because we didn't play. There's a couple of levels of add-in where one is where you have a trader in your midst.
Oh, like a Cylon?
And then there's and then there's a whole nother level, which I forget what it is, that even adds more sort of thing to it. So, and I think that would,
more.
because you'd still absolutely have to work together
Yeah.
to not die, but you're always thinking, did he do that wrong because he's an idiot or because he's trying to kill us all? So yeah, I would. That's my number 17 game. So I totally agree. Mia, number 10 for you.
Okay, so just so you guys know, I like more family games and not I hate you, you hit me games because I like peace.
Except when you're playing the Resistance.
Yes, that is an exception. So my number 10 is Sushi Go, which is a really great fast game that you can play almost anywhere. It's a card game where you're trying to collect the most points, and you can have combinations, and the artwork is adorable. And
it makes you want to eat sushi.
Yes, and I like it because it also has some of my culture because I'm Japanese, and it's just all around. Anyone can play it. It's very simple, and it's replayable because no game is the same. It's always different.
It's got the nice pass and play feature that I like, which makes you all kind of
Except sometimes
engage more in what's happening. So I like that.
Yeah.
It's a fun game.
I may just have something more to say about this later, so I'll.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I think it's a great pick. I agree. Okay, so number 9. Ave, you want to start us off?
Sure. Okay, my number 9 is Dixit, a French game.
Probably.
Right?
Yeah,
I believe so, yeah.
And basically it's very bizarre, Salvador Dali-esque artwork that you have to sort of come up with creative clues to get most everyone to guess what you're talking about, but not everyone. So it can't be too obvious, it can't be too obscure. And I like it because it's one of those rare games that lets you use inside jokes and really, really, really specific references that maybe just Mia knows or whatever. So there's a little bit of alienation in that regard, but I like it because I get to go, ooh, remember 5 years ago when this happened? You know what I'm talking about. So yeah, the artwork is interesting and it has plenty of replay because
and there are millions of cards.
Oh my god, there's so many cards, but particularly every time you play with someone new, it changes the game.
Yeah.
It's one of those games that who you're playing with will make it more or less fun.
Yeah.
So on the desert island, unless there's people coming and going, maybe somebody will get killed after a while because if the patterns stay the same.
Because someone's going to be the outsider.
Sort of the whole point of the game really
is... It's actually very cliquish, which is...
But it would be a good get-to-know-you game.
Yes.
Yeah.
My question what would a bunch of girls who are, not friends do?
They
would probably be like, this is stupid, I don't want to play.
But you'd think it's cliquish, but the number of times where you do a specific hint, like, oh, I'm going to say this because Mia will get it. Oh. Mia's got no clue, but somebody else gets it, or gets it for the wrong reason.
It often backfires.
It's not, because if it was just a totally cliquish game, it would be annoying.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really work like that. You do try to make a hint that people will, inside joke hints,
but sometimes it's very interesting because
they can
a lot.
Yeah.
Or someone will have a great card to match and it's really splits the vote.
Yeah. You give a great hint and then somebody's got, I totally agree. So it doesn't, we played it over and over and over again and it really is a different game every time.
No one's ever thrown it.
No, and that's another thing is it's not a game where when you lose you feel particularly bad.
No, it's
either.
the experience is what's fun. Winning isn't really the point. It's the game play.
Sometimes there's only a number of things that you can do and people want to play more after that. They're like, oh, let's play another round.
Yeah, we'll just play another round. Who cares who won? Yeah. So that's my number 9.
Okay. And did you do your number 9?
I did not.
Number 9?
Okay. My number 9 is Takenoko, which is a game where you are a farmer? Yes, farmer.
Bamboo
who is
cultivator.
Yeah. Who sounds better as fun.
Yeah.
So, you are working for the Imperial Palace in China, and you're trying to grow bamboo, and pet is a panda. Oh no, it was the Imperial Palace in Japan. I'm sorry, but
Could be China, right?
no, the panda was from China.
Oh, yeah,
okay.
I guess it
Okay.
has to be.
So the panda is
It's a lot of
very cute
backstory.
and small, and so the panda goes around and it eats your bamboo because that is what pandas eat, and so you're constantly trying to regrow it, and there's like 3
Yeah.
different cycles. You have to like water it and then fertilize it.
You have to
And-
have the right
Yeah, you have to have the right
drainage or
little
something.
tiles. It's like once you've played it, it's much simpler
Yeah.
and it's pretty easy to grasp, and it's a very cute game, and like,
Well, and it's a Euro game, which I'm usually not the hugest fan of.
but it does it in a very subtle way.
Well, and each player has their own individual goal.
yeah.
Which helps because you don't feel like, well, if I don't get any ore, I'll just sit here while you guys play because I've already lost in
Yeah.
round 2.
It sounds like a scar right there.
Oh, whatever.
Just to make something up at random,
like,
right?
I don't know, or
Couldn't-
something.
Or,
But yeah, so it's a Euro game I actually like, which is
Yeah.
rare for
well,
me.
it's a Euro game with a great theme. You
Yes,
know, a lot of
it's also
Euro
cute.
games, it's just cube pushing, right? And this
This has a
game,
panda.
super cute, and they have this
Giant
version of a
and-
collector's
'cause
version
they
where the
have the
panda's like
tiny-
this big. That
tiny
would be
bamboo.
super fun to play,
You
but
have-
an indulgence I haven't allowed myself.
You have a tiny
Except you
little.
bought the giant Romulan cube.
I do have the big board.
Oh, the
cube,
board
but
cube, not
that's
the
a
Romulan.
Star Trek thing.
Star Trek chumps.
So
cute
you have
panda.
like tiny little like bamboo things that you're supposed to stack, and you're growing your
Yeah.
bamboo.
Yeah.
And if the giant version, it's like literally like this wide.
The
Yeah.
bamboo is?
But it's a great
you?
game. It's
Yeah,
a
it's
great
awesome.
game. It's a great family game. It's just fun. Again, not one where winning and losing is such a big deal. It's just you're playing and you're enjoying playing.
And
Yeah.
like most of my games are going to be like that because I like storytelling and pretending, like a lot of family games
Games with
for
cute
me.
figurines.
Yes.
So speaking of which, my number, not cute figurines, but I think that this may appear on at least one other person's list. My number 9 game is Gloom.
Yay.
So Gloom is an amazing game. It's a flip game where instead of you're trying to kill your family, you have a family of 5 cards less if you're trying to get through the game quicker. And your goal is to get as much bad luck on your family as you can with playing cards on them and then kill them. And the other people around the table are trying to make their family unhappy and unlucky
So
and then make your family happy.
You're trying to bank negative points.
You're trying to bank negative points and other people are trying
So
to make.
basically,
But hang on, let me
sorry.
finish. So the best part of it is that, and I don't know if this is the way everybody plays the game.
It's the way everyone
but
should play.
It's the way everybody should play is we create these elaborate stories for every card play. So by the end of it, you've told this incredible epic story about each of these people and their family and how they lived and how they died. So it's a super fun storytelling game. And you can
Yeah.
speed it up a lot because if you don't take the full family,
You can
you've
have
only
like
got a
three
few people to
characters, yeah.
kill. So 3 people goes really quickly.
we like doing it with more people because we have more story to tell. But sometimes you don't have as like
You don't have the time.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
No,
but
that's definitely a game where who you're playing with matters too.
Mhm.
If you're all on
if
board
someone's like, oh, this
to
is
color
stupid.
in the lines and say this happened, da 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 da. Yeah.
And it's been very funny because once someone was like playing and they had the lowest number of points and someone had a car and they go they get married and someone just went, oh no.
And the artwork is great too.
Yeah.
It's I'm forgetting the artist, but it's very.
Gory.
Yeah.
Like
And-
Adam's Family.
Yeah,
kinda.
Yeah.
So it
there's
looks
one
great.
there's one family that the little girl is like named Minna and she's like Wednesday Addams except blonde.
Yeah.
It's
So
a
it's
good-
terrific
it's a
game.
good game.
Terrific game. And I'm betting will appear later on other people's lists. So those are our top 9. Mia, number 8.
Oh wait, that's okay. Dominion is my number 8, which is a card stacking game.
Like deck building.
Yeah, deck building.
Same.
So basically, I really like this game because once you've played it before, you go like boom, boom, boom. Like
It's
it's
a quick
very,
one, yeah.
it's quick and it's fun, and It's not one of those ones. It's like a Zelda time, like.
You're in like a medieval village.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's what someone. I don't know, but it's very like it's quick and it's fun and it's like if you want to engage your brain a little bit. Because a lot of these are like storytelling games. This is one game that I like to be like, okay, now you have to think. Like,
yeah. Well, and there's a cool app on your phone. It's like a Dominion deck building app, and you basically shake your phone, and it gives you different, what would you call them? Different stacks.
Different combinations of cards
and
that
then
you can play with.
Each one of those, they can pair with each other. Oh, this one works great with this one, and you can build upon it. So you can change the game every time.
Because there's a zillion different cards, and you only play with a certain number of cards in each game that you're playing, and those combinations of cards can vary sort of infinitely because there's a lot of add-ons. Even within the core set, there's probably 3 times as many cards.
And you can
as
play it with. So many times. It's never the same. That's
awesome.
That's why I love deck building games because you build your deck different every time.
Yeah, and some people play with a really thin deck or really fat. It's interesting to see what people.
Dominion's not my favorite game because, and this is just me, but it feels a little thinky for me. I feel like I should be figuring it out, and yet it's not really a game where I feel like I can execute on that strategy. Or it's a little bit like there are particular gotcha kind of strategies where if you get it just right, maybe you can win because you figured out a way through. So I make it a little more thinky. I think
you're thinking about it too hard.
I'm probably thinking about it too hard, but that's just me.
The way I play it, I'm
but
like,
super popular game obviously was top game for a long time.
Yeah, it's fun.
Okay, so that was I'll do my 9 next, my 8 next. Okay, so this is a game that is maybe the most popular board game of the 2.0 board games that exists. Every time we buy a new copy, it says X million more sold. Ticket to Ride is sort of the grandfather for me of the whole 2.0 board game revolution. It's just a great game. It's simple, it's elegant. There's a zillion versions if you want to complicate it, but really, if all I had was the original on the island, I could play that for a really long time. Because there's enough complicated elements to it, there's enough thinking to do, but it's about card play, but it isn't so random. Oh, I got the card I needed. So it's almost the perfect game at some level. It's just,
I love it.
Yeah.
And it has a great iPad version, which is not always the case. It's almost better on iPad.
What do you think about that?
I like it much better on iPad because I hate all the little cards that you have to put and they go everywhere and there's so many pieces and I won horribly the first time. So
you won horribly?
I mean, I lost.
You lost horribly the first time, and that
may
just have slightly colored her point of view on this. But
I
somehow,
do not like it, and Abe does not like the Resistance. So
yeah.
And Ticket to Ride, I feel like is a nice introduction to people who don't necessarily play board games.
Oh my gosh, yeah! If you
like,
want to get anybody into board games, play Ticket to Ride with them.
Well,
it's
Ticket to Ride, one of the reasons I like it better on iPad is it's much easier and I feel like it goes faster because
there's a lot of card checking.
Yeah, let's talk about why you don't like it, because let's give people a sense of it, not just you lost once. But it's fiddly for you. There's too many bits and it takes too long.
There's too many tiny bits and I get disengaged very easily, and when other people are doing it, you're kind of like this, and then you're like, "Hey, I needed to go that way." So I feel like sometimes, one time I was very angry at someone, and I just blocked their whole entire route.
I mean, that's a way to play.
But it does go much faster because you put a route down and it's down and your cards are just dealt to you. So I can see the iPad version goes quicker. I personally like all the train bits.
One of the reasons I like it is because I like train travel, and so you can do routes that you've done before. Like there's a route that's Los Angeles to Seattle, and I've done that route before. So that's something that I like about it. I feel like if I played it now, I might like it better, but it was just too many different pieces.
Well, and then the add-ons add new different rules. Yeah. You honestly just need the original, but if you like it enough,
Yeah.
The other ones,
Asia.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
you
Asian one was interesting. The
tunnels
European
and
one was really interesting
ferries
with
and
ferries
stuff.
and
Yeah,
stuff.
so there's different rules, but
Yeah,
I think I would
The
like
original's the
those
best.
ones less because there's so many more pieces.
it's more complication.
there's just more rules.
Yeah.
My number
8.
8 is Betrayal at House on the Hill. It's complicated. I always want to say House on Haunted Hill, but the Betrayal of the House on the... Anyway, it's a really great game. It's basically Scooby-Doo, but way scarier. And you're flipping over tiles and building a mansion. So the mansion is different every single time because it's randomized. And the first half of the game, you're all playing together as a collective, trying to make it and not cause too many bad things to happen. At some point, you collect enough omen cards where the haunt starts. And basically, whoever triggered the haunt leaves the room, reads his own or his or her own set of rules, and has a new mission to kill you. And you have, the people remaining have a mission to survive. And you don't know what their plans are. So then you all convene and come back, and it's really cool. And there's an infinite amount of possibilities. The manual is like this thick because it's different things trigger different haunts for you to do this or that or the other. And the artwork is cool, and I just like it a lot. It's a really good game.
I haven't played it, and we have it, but we
Oh yeah,
haven't played
they
it.
haven't played it yet.
Yeah.
Ironically, we could be playing that game now, or we could be doing this. So
We'll
have
play
to
it
do we'll do
eventually.
a review for you. When
You
we
guys
get
will
done
like it.
playing
It's good.
Yeah,
It's a good game.
All right, so that's everybody's 8. So number 7, I started off, right? So why don't you go again?
Okay.
Number
What about me?
7, you started the last one.
No, I didn't. Oh yeah, I
Let's
did.
let it go. Come on.
This is going to be controversial. My number 7 is Password Plus.
Oh, interesting.
I really like team games where you have to just lock in with someone and give clues, and there's a symbiosis between you, or
Yep.
whatever you want to call it.
Telepathic.
A telepathic
connection.
quality. I really like figuring out what's gonna make that person guess that answer, and I don't know what that is, but I just love doing that. So Password Plus, just like the TV show and all of them, you have to give one-word clues to get someone to guess a different one word, and you pass it back and forth. They did not like the game.
Well, I don't know about that. I
love that kind of
love
game.
the game.
Yeah.
The one time we played it recently, I wasn't really locking in with anybody, and
Yeah.
that can be really frustrating.
And it was like literally the 1970s
and
version.
So, but I don't know if there is. We have to.
There
maybe
might not be
look
a new
that
one,
up,
but so all the clues were very dated, so you'd have to even
And he was
calibrate
playing-
for that.
He was playing with me, and I was like,
it's a little
10,
hard when you're
so
10.
I had
You're-
no
You're
idea.
guessing
there's
clues
so
from the
much,
70s
yeah.
when you're 10. Yeah, it
it
was.
was
So it's
like bell bottoms, and I was like,
Yeah. But it is, I mean, it's a terrific game.
Yeah.
It's really fun, and it's elegant, and it's quick. And I bet there's a more modern version. I don't
There
know if
has
there's
to
a
be.
current version, because I doubt it's still on television. But
No, there's not a TV show, but there could be a new board game.
the good news is it's probably on eBay cheap.
Yeah.
Mia, number 7.
my number 7 is 5 Second Rule,
Hmm.
which is a party game. Yes, it is a party game.
Yep.
And I like party games because they're fun and quick and they make people laugh. So, 5 Second Rule, I'm sorry. 5 Second Rule is a game where you take a card out and you have to, it has a question and you have to name the things, or like,
I don't remember this
answer.
game.
You name 5 things
Yeah, you have to
that-
name 5 things that the clue says.
Like
on-
people with the first name John.
Yeah. Like
Oh,
famous
oh,
people
right.
with first name John, and then you flip over the timer and you have to go, John Green, blah, 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 blah. Like,
Who's John Green?
he wrote The Fault in Our Stars.
That's right. That game was intense, but
Yeah.
in a good way. I remember liking that game somewhat.
And it's really funny when people, like, forget what they're gonna say. They just say something random, and it's,
Yeah, each person has 5 seconds. You
So-
don't have to name all 5 in 5 seconds.
yeah.
Yes.
I'm remembering the game.
But
now.
see, that brings up a really interesting point, and that's part of why we're doing this video, I think, is because one of the things is people like games that suit their skill set. Right?
That's true.
So that may be why you particularly like Password Plus.
I have a
it's very
very strong
and whatever.
memory.
So yes.
My brain is like a sponge.
Well, and you can think of things quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is not my skill set. It's pulling 5 things out of my brain in 5 seconds is pretty much impossible for me. Even, name your 5 favorite foods, I couldn't get out in 5 seconds. So for me, the game's a nightmare. And Scrabble is a nightmare, same.
I don't like Scrabble either because I'm terrible at it.
But, what's the game with the pieces? The
Blocus.
Blocus. I love Blocus because my mind works that way. So there's a subset of games, and we should keep aware of this as we go through, that they're really, you either have a skill set for it or you don't. And that's sort of good, but it's mostly bad because if you're playing that game with other people who don't have the skill set, they're just toast.
Yeah.
And part of the game, like Sushi Go, is a fun game for anybody on the planet, I think, because it's sort of a 2.0 version of Old Maid or Hearts or one of those collector games that my grandparents used to play, right? So that game is a very unique skill set sort of game, and if you love it, you love it. And it's sort of challenging, but for most people it'd be good, but for those of us who just simply can't do that.
Well, I think it's so fast too. It's not like you're playing a 4-hour.
It's over quickly.
Yeah, it's a quick.
I just go and then it's over. 5 seconds and I'm done. 7. Me 7?
I haven't done my 7.
Okay, you go.
Oh no, I did do my 7.
Yeah, and
Your
my 7 is, well, speaking of the devil, Sushi Go. So I agree with Mia. Sushi Go is an incredible game, and I just talked about it, so I don't need to say anymore. You can play it with anybody, and
it's very compact. It would be literally good to play on a desert island.
Yeah.
I'm just
or
saying
a train, or
that's all I'm trying to say.
So perfect. Number 7. Okay,
6,
ready
6.
for number 6. And
You
Mia.
start. Oh.
Okay. Telestrations.
Oh.
This is another party game
That I don't remember.
We
Well,
played
she'll
it.
explain it. You'll remember.
Okay.
I think you
So,
were.
That's not the one with
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
Telestrations is a very fun game where you start off, you get a card, and it would say like flower shop, and so you have 30 seconds to draw a flower shop or something that you think. Like, you could draw a flower plus, you can't write any actual words, you can't write numbers, but you have to kind of draw. This is another game my dad doesn't particularly like because you have to kind of draw to do it. It's very funny. The result, you pass them around and the people write what they think it was. So someone said crazy flower lady, and then they drew a bunch of flowers and then a lady in the middle, and then someone said florist.
That's
and
right, I'm remembering this.
Or sometimes you have like
it's like telephone, but you're drawing
With
instead
illustrations.
Of,
I wonder how they got the name.
It's very fun. It's very funny. It goes really quickly, and sometimes you want to just draw badly because the result is even funnier when you just like.
Oh, if you just.
So there's some games, and we've played more of these lately, and I think party games are like this. There's some games where you don't care who wins. It's just for the fun of it, and there's some games where the laughter is artificial and forced. This is a full-on legitimate.
What game are you playing where you pretend to laugh?
Oh, there's lots of. No, I don't mean that where they just make you do stupid things and then everybody laughs
Hop
at you.
on one foot.
Yeah, exactly, all that. Whereas this, you're doing your best. You're trying. It's kind of like charades with drawings. You're trying to get the concept across.
Yeah.
But then the next person takes what he or she thinks you've done, and then they do their twist on it. So it's being degraded really fast, and it's fun to watch where things swerve off to. It's really hilarious.
That was like what was it? It was Los Angeles, and it went from, because I did the beach, and then I did buildings, and then someone said Miami, and it went through like 5 different cities.
Different beach towns.
There's a little bit, I think, of, I can't draw, but it's not like, there's a few games where you really need to have some artistic talent to be successful at them. This isn't one of those games. It's really crude.
Well, because you're not, the point isn't to win.
And the point isn't to win, and it isn't really about you drawing a perfect picture, because it's a perfect picture of a concept, And that concept may not come through your picture.
Right.
Like, you know, Pablo Picasso wouldn't necessarily be any good at this game because you wouldn't know what the heck he was drawing his picture of,
Sure.
you know, or what the point was.
Right.
Ave,
Are we on 6?
we're on
Six.
6.
My number 6 is Twilight Struggle.
Oh.
You haven't played it. It's a really fun 2-player asymmetrical game. Somewhat asymmetrical, right? You have 2 different goals. You're not both trying to do the same exact thing,
Okay.
right?
Well, you're both trying to get points.
Yes, but one person's playing the United States
Sure.
and one person's playing the USSR, and you're both basically going through the Cold War.
You have a different set of resources.
You have a different set of resources,
Yep.
a different set of skills. Like there's,
Yep.
it's balanced, but you're
Yep.
doing different things.
Yep.
Even though your goal is to take over
Yeah.
and control the planet.
Yeah.
I love the artwork. I love the history of it. It's like there's actual facts within it. It's like you're going through the Cold War.
Yeah.
It's a really cool game. I just really like it.
I
No
would
doubt.
I could
comment
play it
on
over and over.
Except I have not played
You haven't
it.
played
Yeah,
it.
you
I
haven't
played
played
it.
it.
It is absolutely a great game.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little more complex than any of the games we've talked about
Yeah,
so
it's
far.
definitely.
But it's not.
It's no.
It's not Harry.
Twilight. It's no Twilight
It's
Imperium.
not Twilight Imperium, although they both have Twilight in
They
the
do
name.
both have Twilight. In the
And it's not Twilight the movie with vampires.
No.
But yeah, it's totally doable for people who are, you know, willing to play a medium complexity game.
Yeah.
It's very themey, but it's not. It's really accessible. You could play that with just about anybody, and I think the fact that you like it so much is a good sign because
Yeah.
you're not a war gamer. You're not
Right.
normally somebody who would play those kind of games.
Yeah.
But you really like that game.
Yeah.
And there's a whole family, if you like that, there's 1989, there's making a race for the presidency or whatever, 1960.
With different skins, but the same idea.
Labyrinth, there's a whole bunch of games that are very similar to that. So this opens up a lot of great possibilities. So my number 6 is now a really asymmetrical game called Android Netrunner. So Android Netrunner is
Their favorite game to
kind
play
of
together.
it's another
our favorite.
2-player game, and it's set in the universe of cyberpunk. So one person is a hacker.
You're basically living in a Philip K. Dick novel. It's great.
Yeah. One person is a hacker trying to break into the terrible evil corporations, computer banks, and do nefarious things and steal their secret files. And the other person is that evil corporation trying to prevent the hacker from stealing their files, all the while they're moving forward their agendas to conquer the world and make more money and do all that stuff. And it's totally asymmetrical. One player is trying to protect his computer systems and move forward his agendas. And the other person is to penetrate all the blocking and to steal those agendas. And there's a zillion cards to it. There's add-on packs coming out every month and have been for years. So there's a whole deck building game, which we don't do too much, where you can pull cards and put together your own deck in there.
It's like you're building your own rig. But even within the game, you build your own rig.
So there's really 2 games within the game.
Yeah.
One is making your deck, and then the other game is using your deck in the game. And it's fast.
It's pretty fast.
And typically, I mean, sometimes it can go really fast.
Yeah.
And it's really fun, and
We've probably played that more than any other game.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to say we've talked about we've talked about Sushi Go, we've talked about Dominion. How would you say, where would you put this relative to that? I mean, it's clearly more complicated. It's a lot more thinky. It's more like a chess game, really, with cards. It's more me against you. But again, it's not like gotcha.
Well, you have to really plan out your turns, and you'll have to do prep stuff.
It's a thinking
in a round.
You build up.
And then, like, the next turn, you'll follow through with what you prepped. So there's a lot of thinking going on. But the cool thing is, since you're doing 2 different things, you're both, even if you're waiting on the other person, you're figuring out what you're doing next. So there's not a lot of I'm bored downtime.
And the other thing is, unlike a lot of take that games where you're just going, I attack that person, boom. like in this
Cash
game,
and guns.
you set up your like I typically play the corporation. You set up your infrastructure, and then the hacker tries to break in, and if they get hammered by my defenses, it's sort of like, hey, look, you're the one who tried to break in. It's not my fault.
Yeah.
And same thing the other way. So it's not really, you don't get personally involved with the other person. It's not a take that game. So.
No.
And it's not so me. It is me against you, but in a less.
The skin is so
way.
cool. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's really fun, and the atmosphere is terrific as well.
Yeah.
Did we do all our 6s? I think
Yes,
we did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so number 5. Since I just talked, I can't start out. So number 5.
Abe.
So Abe, why don't you start out?
Okay. I have something written down that I maybe want to change.
Okay. Do you know what you want to change it to, or?
I don't know. I guess I could just leave it.
Okay.
My number 5 is guillotine.
Oh, okay.
Um,
I'm surprised you want to change that.
I really do. I like guillotine a lot. It's
It might
it's
just
very
not be
cheeky.
in-
It
It's
is.
artwork and
French.
it's jokes. It's about the French Revolution and the guillotine. So there's a lot of sick humor, which I like.
The artwork
Scarlet
is
Pimpernel's
great.
in there.
The Scarlet
So you
Pimpernel's in
gotta
there,
love
so
that.
I'm already on board.
Yep.
And you basically have laid out the line of people to be beheaded, and you're trying to get the most valuable players, essentially.
Mhm.
And there's a bit
Get
of
meaning behead.
behead to take their heads.
So that's fun.
And there's a bunch of cards that say skip this green card ahead too, skip it back. It's a bit like Uno in that way, where your things are shifting all the time.
But the Scarlet Pimpernel is the villain in our game because
he's trying to save people from he's trying to steal
Yes.
our victory points.
Yeah.
So guillotine's just like a fun, quick. I think the
Sick.
artwork and the jokes are interesting enough to make it like more interesting than a game that would be just like this, but not
It's sort of
as
like
fun.
Gloom Light, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's fun, no big stress. You don't have to think too much.
Yeah,
There's
it's an easy
another
but there's
version,
kind of a story
there's
to it.
Love Letter, which is a more random one, and I liked Guillotine better because it's just, it's like you said, it's very cheeky and funny.
Yeah,
it goes very fast.
There's a lot to be.
Yeah, and
To
there's
get
all.
out
We,
of
I
it.
mean, we
It's
can
a
do
lot-
a thing on
there's a
different
lot to
card
be
games,
headed.
right? Because there's Love, very funny. There's Love Letter, there's KGB versus C. I mean, there's
we
a
haven't played that yet,
zillion,
yeah.
but we played the Star Wars
Yeah, yeah,
equivalent.
yeah.
So there's a lot of card games now. More and more
Starcraft.
card games are sort of hitting the market, and it's really interesting to me because when I was a kid, my grandparents and my parents even were playing card games on the weekends.
Right.
You know.
And this is just
So-
has more colorful
and this
artwork
is-
and stuff, basically.
Yeah, and new themes, and like we've learned to put different faces on dice and make the whole dice different than 1 through 6, and
Right.
so it would be fun to do a whole thing on card games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mia, number 5.
Evolution.
What? Really?
Yes.
Well, my number 5 is Evolution.
Well,
Well,
okay,
what do we
so
win? Say
You're,
the magic
you're
word, and the
related.
duck comes down. It could be we're related. All
so
right.
this game, I really like it because it's very educational, and it's about you get to pick 3 things that your character person
Attributes.
Yeah, like it can be like thick skin, a shell, or like it can
Ways to
climb
survive
Yeah, ways
the
to
elements.
survive, and it's very interesting because I like it because there's a bunch of different. You always can do different things. Like you're always in a pack, and you have a thick shell, and like
You can make a
can
different
make-
animal
yeah.
each time, which
And
is cool.
you can be a carnivore or a what's the word? When you-
Omnivore?
Omnivore.
Herbivore.
Herbivore.
Yeah.
You either eat meat or
Herbivore.
you don't. You either eat the other animals or you don't.
Right.
Yeah.
I liked Evolution. I think maybe we should play it again. I felt behind most of the game. I kept feeling like, oh my god, oh my god, I'm out of food. Oh my god, I did this or whatever. I think if we played it more, I'd be better at it. That's why it's not on my top, but I did like it.
I like it because it's very simple once you get it, I think, and after you've played it more than once, it gets very fast. And if you play it with the same person, like I have with my dad, it's interesting to see how it turns out differently every time.
I demoed this at International Tabletop Day at the one here in LA, and everybody loved it. I mean, we played it probably 5-6 times that day with maybe 6 people each. And people learned it fast, they got into it, and they went away thinking it was a great game. So it landed super well when we brought it out to people just playing the first time. The one issue, and it's neat because you put together these different characteristics. There was an old computer game by the SimCity guys that may have been called Evolution, where you made creatures and you turned them loose in the environment and stuff, and
so
different
you get to
creatures.
actually see them.
And it like the computer program, and they ate each other and did whatever, and the goal was to see how they all interacted. And I love that game. It wasn't actually very fun in the reality of it. This is much more like the game in the reality of it. The one thing we haven't quite got over is we're not great at take that games.
Yeah.
We're not great at
It did seem like
I ate you.
Yeah.
You know, that we're not super good at. And the one thing is to really make this game sing, the carnivores have got to eat people, right?
Yeah.
And we sort of are a little
Every
like,
time-
well,
every time-
maybe I'll just have this celery. And it's
I kill myself when I'm a carnivore.
Yeah,
Not
so that's-
purposely,
So you
but
get a
I
multiple
just,
animals.
I just like, when I'm playing it with my dad, I'm like, I don't want to kill you. You
Yeah.
only have 2 animals.
so we got to figure out that whole
And the artwork
take
is
that
great.
thing.
It's like watercolor almost.
I
and
do like the artwork.
It's very colorful, which I really like. And
It would definitely be like the best day in science class if they were like, today we're playing Evolution. I'd be
Absolutely.
like, yes, let's do
Yeah.
it.
And so here's another point, is I doubt we're going to see King of New York or King of Tokyo on anybody's list, which is just they're
Everyone
both
hates
spectacular
me.
games,
Oh, I
but
like
we're
that
just
one.
not good at, but it's not on your list,
It's on my
your
runner-up.
under list?
It's on my runner-up.
because
list.
we're not super great at take that games, like, and Mia and I
I
particularly
definitely like having
don't.
my own side mission that I'm like
Yeah.
accomplishing even if I lose.
So, if you're looking for take that games, we may not be
We will
we'll
get
tell you,
better at
we'll
them.
tell you when it's a take that game and we'll review them, but you're not going to hear us going, oh, it's awesome because I got to kill
except
them.
for
ass,
the resistance. Except for
All
the
right,
resistance.
so wow,
Yes.
this is the synchronicity of today. You and I are like in the same zone. So I'm going to start with number 4.
Oh god.
And my number 4 is the resistance. You and I are just like,
Wait, is her number 4?
No.
no, but she was
Oh,
talking about the
yeah,
resistance.
yeah.
She was talking about Sushi Go, and I picked.
Yeah.
So, the resistance. It's this great game where there's some people who are freedom fighters, and there's other people who are spies that have infiltrated the freedom fighters, and you have to go on missions and beat the government. But the spies are trying to sabotage the missions, but they have to sabotage the missions without getting caught. And the vehicle is sort of card play, but you could there's very, very few things that are needed to play the game. It's really just a high concept game of how do I sabotage the mission without being seen to sabotage it. And there's always, let's say if there's 5 people playing, there's 2 people trying to sabotage it. So you've got to make sure that when you sabotage it, that you can blame somebody else. So half the game is trying to blame other people and make them look suspicious.
That's why it's fun.
Before
You need to play with people that you know, because it's much more fun because you can go, oh, she did it. I had nothing to do with it. But
And
like,
so Mia, age 12,
yeah.
and Mia, age 10, are really scary good resistance players. Like, she could be just absolutely stabbing you in the back, and all the while you would have no idea whatsoever. And there's a little meta to it, because you have to sort of understand when you can and can't get away with sabotaging missions.
like
and,
when the first
and-
play, you have 2 people, and you cannot. It's like the stupidest move if you say no, like if you
fail the
sabotage
mission.
the mission.
Except that since everybody knows that, every now and again you can do it and go, oh, the new player did it, or something like that. So it's one of those games where it's always true except when it isn't. But you love this game less than Mia. And
I couldn't disagree more. I hate this game. I I hate it. I don't like games where you have to lie and people are going, you are lying, you're a liar. I hate it. So I am not good at lying or being told that I'm a liar. And I feel like there's not enough cover to properly hide under. So like there's a Battlestar Galactica game where some people are Cylons and some people aren't, but so much other stuff is going on. There's a much easier way to kind of, I sabotage this, and there's not it's you're the one, you're banished. So
my trick is
if you don't like that kind of play, you won't it's Avalon's the same thing. People say, I like Avalon more because there's more characters. No, it's the same game.
No, Avalon's the same game. But Battlestar Galactica isn't about figuring out who the traitor is.
No.
Battlestar Galactica is about surviving the Cylons. The traitor thing is a really important side of that.
Right.
But this game is all about
it.
figuring out who the traitor is. There's werewolf. Now there's one night werewolf, which I really like, which is less that way. Because you don't even know the truth in One Night Werewolf.
Yeah, if you don't know
that
you're lying.
I mean, how did you like One Night Werewolf in
It was fine.
Mexico? Yeah, that was better, right?
It was better.
So
I did not like it. Personally.
It's not my kind of game.
Yeah, well, you don't really, even the point in One Night Werewolf is you don't know what the truth is. So the lying
even if you're the werewolf, you might not know it. But anyway.
It's not lying. It's called acting.
So
hard division.
Werewolf, not so much. There's a lot of games like that Abe's not gonna like. Okay, so we just did our number.
No, I didn't do it.
Yeah, didn't you? That was your game,
No,
wasn't
that
it?
was not my game.
Oh, okay.
I think that was yours.
Okay, so why don't you go?
Number 4, Gloom.
Number 4, Gloom.
So I have a little bit like the same view but different.
Good.
On this, I love it. I love the artwork. I love pretty much everything about this game. And I love telling stories, making up different stories. And I tend to play with the same family a lot and make the story different every time. And it's just very fun because you're basically playing the opposite. It's like if the little girl, sometimes they'll get the person gets to pick they're gonna get married or they're gonna
I think it's another instance of feeding into our dark and twisty sense of humor because I could see the people really not liking this game.
Oh yeah, if you're
it's very dark and twisty.
Yeah, if you're upstanding, law-abiding, you know, unless you want to work your dark side out on this, you may not like it because it's a real flip on the normal way.
Yeah, and we take it to a bad place, but we find that hilarious. So it's
not a bad place.
Not a bad place, but we'll talk about stuff that's really gnarly, and we'll make it as grotesque as possible.
Well,
I love that. I'm just saying some people would be upset.
But that, even the phrases on the cards are cute. It's done
right,
cutely,
but then we shoot them in with our own.
There was one where it's maggots in the meat, and my story for that was little Minna was very excited. They were having their they were having her favorite meal.
Maggots?
No. Prime rib, and she was about to cut into her meat when she sees maggots. Dun, dun, dun.
Yes. Anyway, I'm just saying it's not for everybody.
Yes.
But it is for us.
Okay. And Avaryl.
My number 4 is a bit of a party game, Categories. Categories is basically you have a giant die with every letter of the alphabet on it, and you're given a series of lists. You roll the dice, and whatever letter comes up, you have to think of a word within that category that starts with that letter. So it'll be like girls' names, candy bars, streets, da-da-da-da-da, and you go down the whole list, and they all have to start with whatever letter you rolled. I just think it's creative and fun and quick and a nice little party game.
I really like that game as well because, it's, she already said that.
So this is another Ring of Hell game.
Yeah, it's not your skill set.
It's the same as the 5-second rule. It's just
There's
not
also
my
a really
skill
loud
set.
buzzer that ticks and ticks and ticks.
That's the only thing that I don't
It's just not my
like.
skill set. And I don't know, there's something about that in that game where you're supposed to shape and make stories with whatever that's called.
That was.
And that's like this super hyped game, and it's like just so. I get it. I know how much you enjoy it. Not so much for me.
Yeah.
Number 3. Who wants to start number 3 off?
I'll go. My number 3 is Ticket to Ride because it's awesome.
Oh, it is.
That's all I have to say.
Come on now, Ticket to the Ride iPad. You're good.
Yeah.
And you said you'd play it again.
Did not say iPad.
Oh, please. All right, you want to do ticket number 3 for you?
Forbidden Island.
Forbidden Island. Good call. What kind of game is that?
That is a survival game where
Very co-op.
Yeah, if you don't have, if you're not working together, you're gonna die.
And there's no point to not work together.
Yeah.
There's absolutely
Right, there's no
goal.
trade, there's
You-
no nothing.
You are stuck on a desert island with your friends, and so each of you has a special ability. Like one is like a water.
There's like a helicopter, there's a digger, there's a swimmer, there's different stuff that you can do better than anyone else.
You pick those like specifically so all of those things can work together. Like usually someone always has to be the water person so they can like.
It's basically like the equivalent of going and doing trust exercises at a ropes course. It's like, okay, well, I'll hold the bucket while you go through, but then you have to hold the bucket, and then I'll hold your foot, and it's this very like mapped out.
And the dynamic of the game is you've got like a 9x9 or 16x16 grid of tiles.
Oh, right.
And over time, they're disappearing.
They're
the
sinking
island
into
is
the
falling
ocean.
apart,
Yeah.
and you've got to put something together, whatever the
Motor,
MacGuffin.
the MacGuffin.
You got to put the MacGuffin together to escape, moving around the island while it's disappearing, and hopefully not stranding you, and hopefully not taking away part of your MacGuffin you needed. So it's one of the new wave of really cool co-op games.
Right.
And
Like
Forbidden
Pandemic.
Island, Forbidden Desert are 2 of the great ones. That's a terrific game, and that would be fun on a desert island. Although maybe a little
Too meta? Whoa.
yeah, a little too soon.
Might get paranoid.
Yeah. All right, and 3 me, right?
Yep.
So my number 3
Why do you have
is
3 number 2s?
because they're tie. It's a tie. My number 3 is Dead of Winter. So, zombie game. Maybe the zombies could play Dead of Winter with us. So
could
Dead
be
of
the
Winter
zombies.
is a zombie game, and there's a series of scenarios, so every game is slightly different. But it's really thematic. There's a book that tells you stuff about what's happening, and you've got characters with backstory, and it's co-op, but everybody's got their own individual goals they're working on.
The art is good.
The art is good and not scary, but it's a bit unnerving.
Realistic.
It's a bit edgy. It makes you feel more like you're in a TV series of zombie survival. Not any particular one, but it feels like you're in a TV series and people are all kind of working with each other but against each other, and the zombies are coming on. So it's super thematic.
Yeah. It's a good game. I like that game.
I like that game also.
There's a lot of moving parts,
It is a little complicated.
but I like it a lot.
And I think it'd be good on a desert island because there's a lot of different scenarios and a lot of different characters, and I feel like that would be different.
Mm-hmm.
It would hold
I think
your
too, the more
attention.
you play,
the less
We've
the
only
moving
played it
parts.
once
We
or
played
twice.
it a couple of times.
So.
It's one of the zombie games that I like a little bit more than some of the other ones.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Like Lost Night on Earth, I really like that one, but this one is a little bit.
Last Night on Earth seems even more complicated.
Yeah.
Somehow.
And it's totally different game, right? Because Last Night on Earth is kind of a miniatures game, whereas this is nothing to do with miniatures. It's very heady. It's very in your imagination.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, number 2. I'm gonna start number 2.
Okay.
All right, you start number 2 then. Number
You
2.
have 30, okay. My number 2 is The Resistance because it's great.
For
Okay.
reasons.
Because I win every time. No.
You are ferociously good. Hang on, would you say the Resistance you like because you're good at it? Is that one of those games where different skill sets?
But also I guess that probably is one of them. I like I don't know. I just think it's very fun to play, and it's probably because I'm good at it.
Well, I wonder if you're good at it because it's fun, or it's fun because you're good at it. Because you really embrace it. You have to embrace it. That's the thing, and you don't like embracing it. You're like, no. We talked about, what was the other game where we talked about some people? Oh, Gloom.
Yeah.
But some people wouldn't like it because their moral, ethical system won't let them go there.
Right.
I think you've got an ethical thing about the resistance.
100%.
So,
I don't like lying.
Yeah. So that even in the context
acting.
of the game, And Mia puts it in a very different space of acting. And I don't know where I put it, but I'm like, okay, I'm putting this hat on. I guess for me it's acting. For me, it's acting too. I'm like, all right, I'm in the resistance. I mean, I'm a spy, so I'm gonna be doing that thing.
No, I would be a terrible spy.
So yeah. So that's an interesting thing about. So it's another game where your ethical system may.
One time they were so good at it because I never
he dragged me along. I was just like, I don't know.
Sometimes I think that I think for me, one time we were playing it with the same people when we were camping, and me and Carl were playing, and we were the two spies, and then we played it again, and we were also the two spies. And
I think playing it over
and
over in a row helps because your baggage from the other games affects the next set of games. I still don't like playing it, but I will say that.
It does kind of it comes out in the wash.
Yeah, you go, oh, I'm still mad at them from the last round, but they might be good this time.
And I'm definitely happier when I'm the resistance, not the spies.
I am not as
You're
happy.
happy.
I
You
love
love
being a spy.
Yep.
Yeah, no.
It's much more fun for me because if you're in the resistance, you're like, yeah, that's great.
See, I love trying to figure out who the spies are and get those evil
But
spies.
He's always like, Lily!
Yeah.
You're the spy.
Yeah.
And then Carl was like, evil spy Shelly.
He's tricky too. All right, so my number 2, as Abe pointed out, is 3 games. It's actually more like 5 at this point, but it's the Dice Masters series. So Dice Masters is a really clever game. We talked about games where they change the faces of the dice to make very specific games. So you get dice that represent superheroes, and you get cards that represent superheroes. So you can represent the superhero by different facets of their strength. Different cards cost different amounts of money, so you can put together particularly strong or particularly weak versions. You could build teams. And the more that they've issued now, I think they're up to 5 or 6. They interact and they throw in some other stuff with it, but it's a pretty straightforward game of you're pulling dice out of a bag, you're building, you select which superheroes you're going to play with.
Which is cool.
You get superheroes are great. You get the dice that go with them. The dice go in a bag. You pull random dice out. Some of them are sidekicks. Some of them are superheroes. You're trying to build teams. You put them in the field. Your dice fight it's a 2-player game. Your dice fight the other person's
Street Fighter
dice.
With dice and tons of characters.
You're trying to get points by hurting the player, which is the meta of this is a little weak. You don't want to think too much about what's going on.
No. It's just fun to roll all the colorful dice.
It's awesome to roll the colorful
anyway,
dice.
you can just roll lots of dice. I'm in.
Big pile of dice.
Half my love for King of Tokyo is just rolling those dice.
And there's a cool D&D version of it, which I personally don't think goes very well with the superhero. But now with the superheroes, they've got the Marvel. They've now got 2 different sets of DC. So you can have Superman fighting Iron Man or team with, so it's pretty cool if you're a comic book fan. It is way deeper. If you're like somebody who loves comic books, this will be great for you. If you're somebody like me who knows who Superman, Batman, and like 5 others are, it's still fun. There's a lot of characters around the edge.
Or if you're someone like me who knows their names and that Superman goes like, I'm Superman.
There you go.
Then it's also really fun because you get to roll colorful dice.
And it's not too thinky. It's just roll a bunch of dice and have some fun. It's also over pretty fast. So that would be a good desert island game, I think.
Yeah.
My
number 2 is a game called Cards Against Humanity.
Oh, another game we don't know.
Mia can't play it. It is very much rated R. Basically, it's apples to apples, the super adult screwed up version, where there's white cards and black cards, and they'll put down something, and you have to put down something to go with it or complete the sentence. And there's tons of add-ons, and it's just the filthiest, almost hilarious. It's a great drinking game. And it's great to just
Part of the reason I can't play it.
it's a great way to test the boundaries of what you find funny. And a lot of people will not like it, but I find it absolutely hilarious. And it's a great game to just throw in the trunk of your car and have it ready to go.
Okay. I got nothing.
Yeah, you guys would like it.
I got nothing.
But it's really good.
Well, I don't, would I like it?
You would like it if Mia was not in the state.
In the state, okay, so that tells you something. Mia, you're number 2.
1.
Oh, you've done your number 2.
Yeah, we're all at 1.
All right, who wants to do theirs number 1 last?
I'll do mine first because mine's Netrunner and we already talked about
Okay.
it, and it's awesome and great.
So your number 1 is Android Netrunner.
Yeah, love it.
You could play this game forever.
Forever.
So Abe and I have played it a fair amount.
Every time I'm not in the
We
room, or my
barely
mom's
scratched the surface.
Yeah.
I have an entire box of cards. I mean,
And we still love it.
and we haven't even begun to build all the decks you could build,
Right.
and it's just still a great game. And we played with a whole new set of. They actually give you
Characters.
different deck setups in the add-ons. So we played with a whole new set of add-ons the other time that were very different than anything we played with
Yeah.
before. I mean, it's just you can play this forever.
It's definitely a game you get to love your deck.
Yeah,
and
and
you-
you could just play the same deck over and over
Yeah,
again,
yeah.
and then you tweak it, and I'm sure a lot of people out there are in the process of
Tinkering.
making the perfect deck.
Right.
You want to go last or first, man?
I will go. Well, she went.
Or you want to be
Next or last?
I'll
next
go
or
last. Last.
Okay. So my number 1 game is. Somebody here is not going to be happy with this game.
No,
my
I don't
number
hate
1
it.
game is Pandemic.
I don't hate
So Pandemic is gotta be
It makes you go like
the
this.
most.
Ah!
It's a stressful game.
It's super stressful.
I think for me, because I really am a bit of a hypochondriac, it's like an extra
Probably not
level
the right
of
game.
just.
So
Ooh.
Pandemic is a co-op game,
Where
and you're
everybody in the
working
world
together.
dies.
You're like the Center for
CDC.
Disease Control, and there's outbreaks of diseases, 4 different diseases all across the globe, and
The
they're
iPad
spreading.
version is great.
They're
It's a good-
spreading and spreading and spreading, and you're trying desperately to both tamp down the spread and to cure it so it will stop spreading, moving around the world with limited resources, rushing. And the cubes pile up as the disease spread, and if you ever get 3 or 4 cubes on a given
They
city,
just compound on each
then
other.
then all of a sudden you have this explosion, and you put cubes on all the surrounding cities, which could
Yeah.
set off a whole
You're just,
nother
like,
explosion
killing-
of disease.
I'm like looking
And-
at it while like humanity
Oh my
is dying, and I'm like,
And you're sitting there going, the human race is dying here, we're
Yeah.
screwing up. And it's sort of geared, even on the easiest version, you
Oh, yeah.
lose the game on a regular basis.
Yeah,
So the
it's very
theme
hard
of
to
it,
win.
and it's so stressful because you're pulling cards to say where are the diseases going to pop up now. And you're like, oh no, don't let it be Leningrad or whatever. And, it's like, oh no. And it's like, oh.
Yeah.
So super stressful, but genius game, pure co-op. There's absolutely
Yeah.
everybody's working together.
unless you're a psycho who wants to
But
kill
great
humanity.
game.
Yeah, I like it. It just very much stresses me.
Yeah, which is another thing you'll hear is Abe doesn't really like the games, whereas I sort of thrive on them. Not in a good way,
No,
but
but particularly Pandemic. I don't mind like tense games that are really
Yeah.
exciting.
you don't
but-
like that roll to get out of the.
Well, you didn't like that either.
There's
No
another
one
game.
liked
No one liked that.
No,
game.
I actually want to play it more.
It's horrible. You
there's-
just roll dice.
Like
there's-
really, really, really fast.
Because the game is literally limited to 10 minutes in the real world, so you're trying to get, what's it called? Escape from
The temple.
Escape from something, and then
Yeah.
there's a zombie themed version of it.
No.
Anyway, so Pandemic, my number 1 game.
Wow.
And Amelia.
Dixit.
Dixit!
Oh.
Wow, I didn't know
Making
that.
a comeback. Dixit's awesome.
Dixit
Dixit
is awesome.
is, my favorite game personally because
Wow.
I love. 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 going through my imagination, I guess, and we have many inside jokes, and when we all play it together, it's very fun. I love it because the artwork is so weird.
Your
so
characters
bizarre.
also happen to be very cute bunnies.
Yes. They were. I mean, we have this stack of cards. Like
Yeah, you
that
just get
many.
more and more cards.
And I love looking at the different artwork every time, and it's such obscure art that you're just like, and you can't make it too obvious. You can't make it too like simple or anything. You can't make it like.
Yeah.
You can't be like the card when the clouds are behind the guy who has a hat on.
Right.
You have to be like
More subtle about it.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I ever want to meet the artist though. I don't know
Oh, no.
what's up with the artist.
Definitely
It's very
some
interesting.
sort of foreign drug taking.
Yeah,
There's
it
a
It
element
definitely
of
is like, and where did this artwork come from? Anyway.
Yeah, it's like
so,
Mad Libs. It's definitely like they just threw a bunch of adjectives and nouns.
it almost
and
is,
went,
like
this with this.
That's probably how you do it. You set a computer program with a zillion words in it, and then they got to paint whatever the words were.
Maybe.
We'll send that a suggestion off to the nice people in France who made
But
this.
it's a great game.
All right, so Mia, your number one is
Fix it.
My number one is Pandemic, and Ave.
Android Netrunner.
Okay, so those are our top 10 desert island games. I'm Craig Foster.
I'm Mia Foster.
I'm Avaryl Halley.
Thanks so much for watching, and please come back to this channel to watch our reviews of individual games.
Comment, like, and subscribe.
Comment, like, and subscribe. And what we will do is we will review games and not only tell you what we think, but also try to give you some sense of who would like it, who wouldn't like it, and why they would. All right, thank you so much. We look forward to the future together. Have a good night. What? Too intimate?